Good morning, my eminent Norwegian forest cats. Welcome to my guide on momentum. I do want to preface this video by telling you that I'm not an expert at this topic, and I'll only be relaying information that's already well known within the rocket racing community. Bros has already made a video on momentum, but that was a while back and doesn't go into that much detail. It's also kind of outdated ever since the version 44 update, so I decided I'd make this video anyways. Momentum is a really complex topic in this game, and I don't think there's even a single person that understands it completely. That being said, there are still a lot of things we do know about how it works. So what even is momentum? Momentum is an invisible force which acts on your car while you're in the air. It can slow you down or speed you up. The trait which differentiates momentum from other forms of speed is the fact that it can't actually be seen on your speedometer, and its effects will disappear the moment your car touches two or more wheels to a surface. Momentum can be generated in a few different ways, though mainly by flipping and jumping. No, I'm not going to talk about J-launches in this video, we'll have to wait for some other time for that. No matter the map or mode, whenever you watch top-level speedrunners, you'll see them doing lots of flipping forwards during an air drift. This is because it generates forwards momentum for a couple seconds. I'll talk more about how later on. Another thing you'll often see people doing is using a turbo to stack as much speed as possible before doing this same air flip. This is actually because the momentum your flip gives you will be proportional to the speed your car had at the time of the flip. For example, if you flip forwards at 800 speed, your momentum will be 800 for a couple seconds. Essentially, by stacking speed before flipping, players are able to maintain their previous high speeds as momentum for a while, even after the speed boosts expire. You can see in this video that despite me hitting a hazard on my speedometer reading really low, I'm clearly still moving quite quickly. This is because I flipped at around 1200 speed, so I stayed at that speed for another couple seconds after flipping. Momentum also ignores hazards, so hitting them doesn't change how fast you're going until the momentum expires. There are also different ways of using your flips to generate momentum, such as regular flips, mag flips, easy flips, otherwise known as mirror flips, or the drift flips I already showed you. They all have their unique characteristics, with mag flips generally giving you the most long-lasting momentum out of all of them. For regular flips and kick flips, momentum will typically push you at around a 45-degree angle between the direction your car is facing and the direction you flipped it. This also means that to maximize your momentum when drift flipping, you want to try to angle your car's drift to be around 45 degrees or slightly more. Normal flips without air drifting aren't often used to generate momentum, since the angle at which they give you speed can be limiting at times, though they still do have their applications. As for easy flips, which can be done by coming off an upside down surface and quickly flipping in the opposite direction to your drift, they generally provide similar effects, except that they flip the direction of your air drift, and the momentum they generate is slightly lower than what regular drift flips provide. This is why on some apps like Airborne 2, the world record actually prefers to wait until their car is pointing up again before drift flipping, rather than immediately doing an easy flip, since the drift flip ends up giving them more speed. Lastly, mag flips, short for magnetic flips. These are a type of flip in which a car tries to connect to a surface for around a second, pulling you towards that surface in the process before giving up and giving you back control of the vehicle you paid for, unless you're an octane like me, which to be fair probably constitutes the majority of the community anyways. And this is the main reason why mag flips are so fast. They pull you towards the surface, and in doing so speed you up. There are two main ways to perform a mag flip, one of which is easier and less risky, while the second version can be more difficult but is oftentimes faster when applicable. The first version is pretty easy to set up. Enter an air drift, angle your car like so towards a wall or other surface, and flip towards it while holding out your thrusters. Using your thrusters prevents your car from reaching the surface, so this ends up pulling you forward instead. The second version is a bit trickier. You have to get close-ish to the top of a surface and flip towards it. Then you hold down your thrusters to move your car upwards, allowing you to narrowly avoid colliding with it. The reason this version is oftentimes more difficult is because you have to station your car more precisely. If your car is too high or too far away, then it won't mag. Too low and your car will hit the surface, losing all your momentum, or even causing you to crash. And even if you do get the mag, the force with which it pulls you can be difficult to manage, such as here, where the mag pulls me out of the checkpoints range on Slap Happy. You can also perform this type of mag while air drifting, which thankfully does tend to alleviate some of its inconsistencies. So now that we've talked a bit about how to gain momentum, let's talk about getting as much value out of it as possible. I touched a bit on this earlier, but you often want to try to reach the highest speed you possibly can before flipping. You typically do this by exiting a large drift, starting a new drift, using your turbo, and then releasing your second drift at the same time as you extend your turbo. By doing this, you can easily spike your speed above 1200, which guarantees that you'll receive a lot of momentum when you flip. There's also a much more advanced property of momentum that's only really useful for speedrunning, which is that your momentum sort of maxes out at around 12 to 1300 kph. The reason this is important is kind of convoluted. If you're above 1300 speed, you can actually wait for your speed to fall back down to the sweet spot between 12 and 1300, which will end up giving you more value for your momentum. Here are some graphs to visualize how this worked. The red circles correspond to the moment you flip. As you can see, the momentum in the first graph is overshadowed by already being above 1300 speed, whereas in the second graph, even though you flip later, you maintain your momentum for longer. Here, you can see that the area under the graph where you flip late is larger than the area under the first graph, meaning you maintain a higher speed for longer. This is why you might occasionally see speedrunners sort of holding their flip for a bit. The last thing I wanted to mention was that, despite the fact the momentum is visible, it is possible to use a second flip to extend your current momentum, which was why Bhops were so absurdly broken when they were still around. Thankfully, they've been patched. Wow, okay. So, as I was saying, thankfully, Bhops have been patched, which leaves more room for other skills to flower. You can't re-extend momentum by B-hopping anymore, since you need to touch all 4 of your wheels to the ground to have your flip return, which resets your momentum anyways. So there you have it. That's my probably somewhat incorrect but probably okay guide to momentum. I hope that this video was helpful to you. I tried to include everything I could think of regarding momentum in this video, but as always, I'd encourage you to share your thoughts down below if you think I missed anything. I've been spending a lot of time making these videos over the past few days, so there is a really high chance I end up getting burnout like right now. And I also have school next week, so I'm probably not going to be able to do anything here for the next few days. If I'm feeling lazy, I may just upload some speedruns tomorrow and then fall asleep for the rest of the week, so be on the lookout for that, I suppose. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.